Right guys, today I am here with none other than Todd Welch, and I've actually flown over to Florida to come meet Todd to learn about getting started on Amazon in 2022 doing the wholesale model. And this guy is absolutely smashing it. So super excited to be sharing this with you today. So Todd, obviously, first of all, thank you so much for having me here in obviously your warehouse, and we'll have a look around that in a minute. Can you introduce yourself and tell everyone about who you are and your Amazon journey?
Yeah, for sure, Thomas. I appreciate you coming. It's been awesome getting to know you and learning all the fun that you have in online arbitrage. But yeah, I've been doing selling on Amazon, I guess, really since about 2014. I kind of went through retail arbitrage, which did pretty good at that, but kind of quickly realized I didn't want to be running through stores and stuff all the time. Had some relative failures in private label, some base hits, products worked okay, but nothing really took off. But kind of found my home in the wholesale world, and it's just really exploded from there to the point where this year I'm on track to hopefully do about 4 million in sales this year.
My God, 4 million, did you say?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it. When I just think about a few years ago, I was struggling to get 50 or 60,000 a month. So.
And how long have you been selling? Remind me of that.
About 2014. Really got started in 2015.
And how long have you been doing the wholesale model? Because I know you tried some other models before.
Yeah, it was kind of mix and match, through 2015 and 16. Probably really hit my stride in about 2017.
Okay. So probably really getting into it for about the last 4 years, would you say?
Yeah.
Pretty good?
Yeah, right around there.
And hey, if you want to know, right now we're in, how big is this warehouse?
5,000 square feet.
5,000 square feet is lovely, super organized, lots going on. I'm so jealous, honestly. I'm super jealous of you. So obviously you've been doing Amazon for 4 years, and I mentioned to it, you were doing some models beforehand. What did you before you got into wholesale? What did you try then?
Well, the retail arbitrage, like I mentioned, and I was doing upwards of 70,000, 80,000 a month.
Wow.
During that. At that time, I didn't really know my numbers like I do today, so I thought I was making more money than I really was, so I got into some debt and trouble there until I worked all those numbers out. But like I said, I didn't really want to scale that to the point where you're just driving all over, and you can get employees and stuff like that, but I just didn't feel like that was the business that I wanted to do. And so that's when I kind of really got into private label. Launched either 4 or 5 products, couple base hits, a few failures, nothing that really took off. I've got one product that I still do sell, but I got into the world of wholesale, kind of found out about that through YouTube and things like that, and that just clicked for me, and just has been going on from there.
Yeah, hey, that's amazing. And I think you said it. I didn't really know my numbers, and so many people don't know their numbers in this game. We all look at the revenue chart. Show us your lines, the orange lines, the chart. And you're like, how much money you're making. And that's the important thing, and it's an easy game to do. And my God, you're not doing small. 70,000 a month. That's insane. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, for anybody out there who's thinking about this kind of stuff, it's a lot easier to do. You might think that you're at a disadvantage when you're young and you don't have any money, but in reality, that can be an advantage. I was an IT manager making 80, 90,000 a year, and it's a lot harder to replace that salary than it is to say $10, $12, $15 an hour, right? And so I tried to make that jump, and now I'm sucking all the money out of the business, and my numbers weren't actually what I thought they were, and so then I had to go back and get a job for another year.
My God.
To kind of reset. So
hey, honestly, big respect to you, and I think it's a really common thing. Lots of people do this. They come out, they see the big numbers, they think they're doing well, and obviously they're not, and they pull their business back and they're like, hey man, why am I not making any profit? This is crazy.
Yep.
So hey, really interesting there. So obviously, should we say, we're here, if you want to know right now, I'm quite hot. Obviously I'm from England and we're in Florida, and today's actually not that hot, is it?
No, it's been pretty nice over the last week or two here compared to the upper 90s that it is in August, and yeah. Yeah, it's still getting into the upper 80s here, and if you're not used to it, it can be hot for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely hot. So obviously today we're not here to learn all about retail arbitrage and private label. That's something we've done in the past. We learned very much about wholesale, and obviously you have done 4 million, or you're on course to do 4 million this year. That's where you're looking to be, and that's incredible. I think that's absolutely amazing to be aiming to do that, and to see it obviously from your journey. And obviously it's the second time I've met you, so really nice. And if you don't know, obviously Todd, and I'll share it at the end, you do so much on like social media, you share like VAs, operations, wholesale, and it's absolutely amazing. So today I really want to learn, I'm looking at getting into wholesale in the US, because my God, you've inspired me, thank you. And I want to know what things, what are the top tips, 3 top tips that you recommend that I should be thinking about in wholesale in 2022, which is next year, that I'm going to be looking at getting into that. As someone who already understands the Amazon ecosystem, but maybe looking to transition into wholesale, what advice would you give?
Sure. So, everything, if you're already selling on Amazon, everything that you know already, whether it's retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, private label, it transfers over to wholesale, right? The buttons that you push in Amazon are all the same. The biggest thing that is different in wholesale is that it's really about relationships, right? In online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, even private label, you can sit by your computer and type and do the whole thing. Where with wholesale, you need to be out there building relationships with your suppliers and different brands and getting them to know, like, and trust you. So it's something to think about, whether that is the kind of thing that you want to be doing, or do you just want to be behind the keyboard and doing like online arbitrage and private label and things. Relationships are important there too, they can be, but wholesale, that's really the name of the game, because you have to a lot of times convince these people to let you open up an account, and then get them to know, like, and trust you and give you discounts that are maybe not published. So that's a big one.
So number one, build relationships.
Yeah.
And I won't lie, that's going to be a challenge for me, because obviously I travel the world, I'm not here in person. Quick question for you, are those relationships built over the phone, or are they built in person? What would you say, percentage-wise?
So, email is the bottom of the list.
Yep.
Phone is a step up, and in person is definitely the best.
Okay.
Now, obviously, it's difficult to fly around the country meeting people, but that's why going to trade shows is fun, especially niche trade shows that are in a specific category, because a lot of times there'll be mom and pop shops there that might have some really awesome products, and you can be sitting there talking with the owner and get around and maybe talk to 50 or 100 different people throughout the course of a few days. But flying around, if you can do that, that's definitely helpful. But a lot of times, if you live in a big city like Tampa,
I like flying around. I can do it.
Yeah, it's fun for sure, but it also costs money, which is hard, especially in the business.
Yeah.
But if you live anywhere near a big city, just look in your city, and there'll be tons of suppliers that you can potentially go meet as well.
Okay, so number one, build a relationship with suppliers. And
Yep.
hey, I agree. I think that's going to be something super important. But also it's going to be a challenge for me going into 2022, building that relationship. What's point number 2 do you recommend?
Number 2 would be for people who have never done selling on Amazon before.
Yep.
Even if you want to do wholesale, I would do a little bit of retail arbitrage first. Go into your local Walmart, find some products on the clearance shelf, even if you're not going to make any money. Learn the process of taking those products, putting them in Amazon, sending them in, selling them, get the money, and get through that process, because that is just going to really help you no matter which way you decide to go selling on Amazon.
Yeah, hey, I completely agree with that. And I say to people, when people are asking me about starting on Amazon, I'm like, the first thing you should do, buy something, sell it. Doesn't matter if you make a profit. It really doesn't. It's just about learning the process. Too many times I'm like, oh, it's not going to make me money. I'm like, doesn't matter. Just make sure you're comfortable with the way it works. Once you've done that, then you can go find all the profitable products. But they spend so long trying to find a profitable product that it's months down the line before they actually learn the process. And I'm like, it's slowing your learning down. And this is our learning. It takes time, doesn't it? We've got to really practice that.
Yeah. Number 3 would be patience.
Okay.
like so many people, I do coaching calls and stuff if people want to do that kind of thing. And the biggest thing that I see is impatience, right? Because I talk about doing what's called the reverse sourcing method, and people can look that up on my videos if they want. But they're like, oh, okay, so I'll make this list of like 10 companies that I want to call, and then I'll call them, and everybody says no, right? And I'm like, well, you're not making a list of 10, you're making a list of 500, brands and distributors. And then you're going to sit down and you're going to start calling and or emailing. Calling is the best if you have the time to do that. Emailing, if you're short on time, then you can follow up with a call. But yeah, impatience is probably the biggest thing, because you can go through a lot of different companies that are just going to say, we don't want any more Amazon sellers. And over time, you learn how to get around that. A bonus tip can be that anytime someone asks you, oh, we don't want any more Amazon sellers, ask them, do you mind if I ask why you don't want any more Amazon sellers? And they will typically straight out tell you the problem that they're having, and then it's your job to solve that problem. And the key on the beginning of that question is, do you mind if I ask? Yeah. I'm not asking you the question, I'm asking you if I can ask a question, but they always answer the question anyways, but it makes it a lot less combative versus, why don't you want any more Amazon sellers? It's a big difference.
And again, it just comes back to point one, building relationships.
Yep.
You're not here to have an argument with them, you're here to build a relationship.
Yeah, you're there to solve their problem, not have an argument with them. And a lot of people think like, well, why don't you want more Amazon sellers? Just sell me it, I'm giving you money. But it's not about that with the brands especially. It's an emotional thing. They want people who care about their product, and they want people who are going to maintain MAP pricing and all that good stuff as well.
So the question for you is, let's say for example I just called up a supplier, no, sorry, we don't want Amazon sellers, do you mind if I ask? And they go, no, we're just not interested right now. Is that it? Do you stop, or do you follow up? And if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. So if you go through that cycle, and usually you'll get into a good conversation, 80% of the time,
okay,
about why they don't want Amazon sellers. You can go down that rabbit hole. But if they just say no, it's just a no for right now. Put them in your CRM, your customer relationship manager, and schedule a follow-up like 3 months down the line, because things change, right? If you don't want to do something now, maybe 3 months they will. Like for example, one of the exclusives I have, it wasn't even a case where I followed up. It was a case where I'd asked them to be a seller. I talked with them on the phone. They ended up denying me. But about a year later, and I dropped the ball not following up on that, but a lot of things are a lot easier said than done. But they actually reached out to me and said, we're sick of Amazon. Can you just do it all for us?
Wow.
And so now I'm the only seller who can buy directly from the brand. Every other seller has to buy through a distributor at an increased price.
Wow.
So,
top tip, keep getting on top of those clients or those wholesalers, build the relationship. That's going to be super important. And you talked about CRM, it's a customer relationship management software. It can even be a Google Sheet. Do you think you recommend?
Yeah, anything. We use HubSpot.
Okay.
They have a free version that is good enough to put all the information in there, and you want to collect any kind of information that you get, especially personal information. If they mention their dog, ask them about their dog and put it in the CRM. If they mention they're having a birthday, put it in the CRM. If they mention they have a wife or kids, it's going in there. So the next time you call them, be like, yeah, hey, how's Fluffy doing? Last time we talked, he was barking in the background. Is he still chasing the postman around or whatever, Because now you got that personal connection, and you're not just some stranger who's calling them on the phone trying to sell them something.
Yeah, hey, I agree. My God, hey, honestly, thank you so much. I appreciate you're super busy. Like give you an idea, today I've come down, he's like in the office churning away, the team are packing boxes, everything is going on the road to $4 million in one year. That is incredible. Something that I hope to be able to achieve maybe in a couple of years' time. So honestly, thank you so much. So if I just reiterate, number one, build a relationship. Number two, buy something, sell it, understand the model. Would that be right?
Yep.
And then number 3, what was number 3? Keep following up.
Be patient.
Oh, be patient. Sorry.
Super patient. It's going to take a lot of interactions to build up a catalog, like we have here, and even bigger. So
number 3, be patient. And I think, hey, that's absolutely something. Some really 3 top tips there. And even if I look back at my own journey in OA, just like the patience of it takes time to buy something, to sell it, and to move on. It slowly builds up. And if I look back just a year ago, business was good, but it wasn't where it is now, and that is patience, isn't it? It's it doesn't. You don't solve the problem overnight. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, really the only reason people fail in business, you might fail at a specific attempt, but typically it's because they give up before they see the success, because they run into a roadblock, and instead of solving it and going around it or over it, they're like, oh, that drop shipping thing looks good, let me go do that.
How do you know how I'm thinking? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So obviously, thank you so much. So if anyone wants to get in contact, what's the best way? How can they find you?
Yeah, just check out entrepreneuradventure.com. They can see all my past videos, and like I said, the reverse sourcing video is a great place to start. So just search for that.
Yep.
And if they want to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me there.
Fantastic. And what I'll do is I'll drop a link down below to obviously your YouTube channel, and you've got Instagram as well.
Yep.
So you can obviously contact Todd down in that. But Todd, from myself and FastTrackFBA and everyone watching, thank you so much. It's been a
Appreciate
real
it.
pleasure.
You have a great one.
I'll let you get back to work. Thank you.
All right, thanks.